thing is, and you know, we get feedback in my position from our John Purdue Club members, so they're not shy at all about telling you what they think is right or wrong, or asking, you know, our opinion about what's right and wrong. And you know, a lot of their comments have been about, even when Matt first arrived, despite the fact the talent wasn't there, you know, he had been able to reverse the trend and get the team back to the old Coach Katie days, where it was, you know, blue collar, you know, great work ethic, and defense, you know, would sometimes allow them to, you know, compete at a higher level, and people are frustrated because they're not seeing that. But nobody's more frustrated than Coach Painter.
Yeah.
So.
What are some of the challenges, obviously, in the JPC kind of fundraising role to get the most out of that? I mean, obviously, that's the life's blood of this athletic department is to get the people to kind of, you know, pony up, so to speak.
Yeah, we have two challenges. Our first is to try to make people understand and educate them about how athletics at the university is funded. They all think that if they belong to the Alumni Association or President's Council, which we all we advocate that. All of Morgan's staff belong to everything. But they think it goes into this big hole, and then it's just divided, you know, across the university. And so when people say, "Oh, I support athletics because I'm a member of, you know, the Dean's Club or whatever," and our point is, no, we're totally independent. So the first thing is to make people understand how athletics is funded, that we're 100% responsible for our entire budget, and we get no help at all from the university or the state or whatever. The second is that we want people to understand that the John Purdue Club provides both the scholarship support and the academic support for the kids. And that should be the reason, instead of, am I going to get better parking, am I going to get, you know, better improved seats, et cetera. And I understand that the quid pro quo is all part of it, but the bottom line is that when you peel away all of that, we want them to be committed to making sure athletics at Purdue is, you know, the best that it can be, and that they're supporting the kids, bottom line.
Yeah, and you look at that, and it has its challenges in today's society, just because, you know, we've gone through a tremendous economic downturn. I think it's coming back, but it's still that constant. I mean, and then you look at the tuition costs and scholarship costs, I should say. It's not just tuition that is presented a huge challenge to be able to keep up. And really, what still is an arms race in athletics, to be able to keep up with what everybody else is doing, or come as close as possible to do that.
It is, and when Morgan arrived 21 years ago, you know, up until that point, our Olympic sports weren't funded from a scholarship point 100%, and they weren't necessarily funded from an out-of-state perspective. And when Morgan basically gave the challenge, it came down from the trustees that we were going to be in the top 25 and have a nationally prominent athletic organization. You can't say that and then expect the coaches to recruit everybody from the state of Indiana and give them partial scholarships when other schools are giving them full rides, et cetera. So he came in and said, okay, no, we're shifting this paradigm, and we're going to go to 100% of what the NCAA allows. And so with that comes the expectation that, okay, now it's a level playing field, so you go out and recruit the best fit for Purdue, the best student athletes, and with that comes a responsibility to us that we have to fund that. And this year, our bill back to the university will be close to $10 million.
Not chump change. That gets your attention all the time. Question about athletic, and you're obviously part of your roles as a senior administrator, obviously, and you've been involved directly with marketing and some of your roles at Purdue over the years. Trying to improve the game experience, and we got a question about that in Ross-Ade Stadium. It's a lot more than just winning football games. There's been a lot of talk about the South End Zone. We've had questions about that. But as you discuss that topic, what are some of the things and initiatives that not only did Daryl Hazel maybe bring to the table, but things that need to continue to get better to get fans coming into Ross-Ade Stadium in droves?
Well, I think Barb Kapp and her staff, she has ultimate responsibility for promotions, and they do a great job of trying to make the game environment prior to the game better. You know, obviously they're trying to, you know, Chris Clopton is working hard with the Ross-Ade Brigade, whose name may change, you know, to get the students involved, so it's similar to the paint crew. But I don't know if you noticed at the basketball game the other night, when the team struggles, even the paint crew,
Yeah.
wasn't there in full force to support them. So winning has just a huge positive correlation to everything, because when you come up with suggestions when the team is winning, it's a home run.
Yeah.
When you have the same suggestion, the team is struggling, people, look at the glass half empty. So, Daryl has a lot of work ahead of him, and Barb Cap, as I said, does a great job with her staff and the promotion staff. They're fantastic. They're creative. Last year they had a lot of initiatives, but nobody got to take advantage because the weather was so awful. With the new patio area between Holloway Gymnasium and the extension to Mack Arena, they had live bands and they had inflatables for little kids, because we wanted it to be a family environment. And I think 3 out of
Yes.
4 games it was rained out. So I think if people give them a chance and people come in with a let's try attitude, I think they'll have a great time.
Yeah.
Just in terms of Title IX, which I don't want to bring this up because you're a woman, but it is what it is. I mean, your program was cut
Yes.
largely to fund Mollenkopf, right? Or at least
It was.
partially to fund Mollenkopf. Have there been strides made in that area? I mean,
Oh.
there still needs to be work to be done.
Yes, but my position with Title IX is probably very different than most. Title IX really isn't about women, and it frustrates me when
Yeah.
people talk about it. It's that there can't be any discrimination based on gender, and it has nothing to do with with men or women. It's you have to you have to be fair.
Right.
And obviously I had a program that was cut, and that was a struggle. But to then see what strides have been made in terms of adding to additional women's sports, the facilities, coaches' salaries. I mean, I coached back in the dark ages, and we had, we had no facilities. We had, we would drive to Penn State to, and put 4 kids in a hotel room, and now it's just so totally different. But while I'm excited about the equal opportunity, what I get a little frustrated with is not the equal responsibility. And when it becomes a one-way street, and we don't have coaches that want to share in bringing in the revenue and understanding that that's a part of why they have equal opportunities, that I think it's short-sighted.
And you've been involved, you're part of, to say the least, in terms of Title IX or in presentations, and from your other life, not other life, but in athletics, but from a national perspective, being involved with that too. So I mean, it's something near and dear to your heart.
It is. It is. I mean, everybody's fought hard for opportunities, and we all believe so strongly that athletics is such a positive for a young person, and it shouldn't be just a positive for a young boy.
Yeah, no question. Talking about, we're getting a couple other questions on fundraising and marketing about Purdue's presence in different cities. I had a question about somebody from Chicago and what Purdue's trying to do, not only from a fundraising standpoint, but to target. Obviously Indianapolis has been a major target. Purdue has had a strong presence in Chicago over the years. But talk a little bit about how you attack it from a city by city standpoint, and what's some of the goals, not only from a fundraising standpoint, but also from a fan interest and marketing standpoint.
Well, I can share with you that when we interviewed Coach Hazel, one of my questions, because I get feedback all the time from our donors in the Chicago area or in the Indy area, is, gosh, we see all the other Big Ten coaches up here recruiting in the high schools, and we never see Purdue. And so I was, that's how you start. If your coaches are in the contiguous states, which I know is a priority for Coach Hazel, then you're recruiting their best kids, and you have a presence there. And then when those kids matriculate to Purdue, then the fans follow, and everybody loves a hometown kid that does well. And so I think you start by making sure that that you have a presence from a recruiting standpoint. And then when Purdue was at its heyday, we had kids from the Chicago area, and it's exciting that that will be a priority. And so then, as I said, then ticket sales follow and fans follow, and we hope that will, that will show a significant increase in those areas.
Sure.
Do you have any downtime? Like, when is your down season? Is there?
The month of July. We finished all of our coaches' caravans in June, and August it starts up again. And so if we're not ready by the 1st of August, we're in execution mode at that
Yeah.
point, but everything up until then is a little crazy. So July is a good time. Yeah.
And we're going to wind this segment down, but what excites you most? You've been doing this, you've seen it, you've seen, not from a personal standpoint, the ups, the downs, maybe every year sometimes, but what excites you most about big time college athletics? What's the should be the takeaway for all of us that watch it and enjoy it?
To see a student athlete who, number one, understands and appreciates what they've been given, and they take full advantage of it. So they, win a championship, or they compete hard, and then they walk across the stage at Hovde Hall with a degree. That's the ultimate.
Yeah, no question. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for your time, and we could go on for hours about getting into all kinds of philosophical, because you've run the gamut of in the world of college athletics, but we appreciate your time and
well, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, it was fun to do, to say the least. Okay, we're going to for segment 3, bring Greg Hudson on, Purdue's defensive coordinator. Kyle Charters will join us as well, and if you stay put for a couple of minutes, we'll be back on Gold and Black Live.
Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
Check out the Purdue collection now at Follett's. Boiler up with Nike Fantastic T-shirts, League and Champion fashion colors. Simply fabulous, simply Follett's. Purdue pride everywhere on game day. Nike sideline, worn by the team, by the players, and by you. And make every day game day with tailgate toss. Follett's, Purdue pride, a Purdue tradition, 17 game day locations.
Good driver? We've got a discount for that and a lot more. See State Farm agent Trent Johnson to make sure you get all the discounts you deserve on your car insurance. Saving you money? It's just part of being there. Call or visit Trent today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Gold and Black Live, segment 3. Coach Greg Hudson, Purdue's new defensive coordinator, and Kyle Charters joins us. And we first and foremost appreciate your time. I know things are busy, and to say the least, maybe going to get busier. But welcome to Purdue and West Lafayette, and I know that Purdue will not give up any rushing touchdowns all year.
That's right. None so far.
I have to admit, one of the things as I read our magazine and your public comments, I did enjoy your comments about your philosophy that talking about how you're going to tackle a lot in practice, and this is a game based on physicality and toughness. And talk
Right.
a little bit about your philosophy and what you hope to gain starting in spring ball with this football team.
I think toughness is a key element that you have to have, obviously, in football. Or it's pretty barbaric, or you won't survive.
Yeah.
We will be a tough group, very physical. Guys will play hard. It'll be fun to watch. They will tackle during the week. It's occupational hazard, but it's what we do, and it's by choice. I mean, there's other options and other things you can be doing besides football, but the guys that choose to do it our way will be out there, and they'll have fun, and they'll have success.
Yeah.
What have been your impressions of the guys so far? I know you've probably had a chance to watch them a little bit on film. You've probably got to meet them in the office and
Right.
in meetings and seen them a little bit at 6 a.m. Just what have been your impressions?
Well, the effort's been great. I mean, the kids, anytime, you, as a coach, you go places, sometimes you go for opportunity to advance and move up, and then there's other reasons you go to places. It's to take over, to resurrect a program, or, change the culture, and the kids are eager. They don't want to lose. They want to win. They want to be successful. So they're like sponges right now. They want to soak it all up and learn as much as they can, as fast as they can. And we've seen them run around a little bit in the morning workouts. They're pretty taxing. We're checking their oil pretty good right now. So we're finding out really just who will compete, who will finish, and then sometimes who will quit.
I heard Monday's going to be the most difficult one, right? I mean, you're going to ratchet it up here this last week. That's what Daryl Hazel said.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Coach. We have a schedule that we stick to, but he has these periods in there that they're the head coach's period, so to speak, within the drill, and those get pretty interesting, and they keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
All right, several questions coming in. What's it going to be like for you to coach your son this upcoming season? Obviously coming to Purdue, and what will that be like for you?
Rewarding. It'll be good because there's a lot of college coaches out there that have children that go off and play sports, and they never see them play. So for me, it'll be great just to have him there and not separate the family. That's the best part about it.
Be able to see him every day.
That's right.
And
that's right.
That's an advantage, I'm sure, from that standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
I know when you interviewed here for the job, we talked before about how excited you were for this opportunity to come back to the Midwest, being a Cincinnati native and a guy who played at school a little bit north of here. Just, how excited were you to get back into the Midwest and sort of this brand of football, I think, as you called it before?
Very excited. I mean, it was awfully warm in the Panhandle. The day I left, it was 81, so.
It was about 3 degrees when you came up here, wasn't it?
My first recruiting trip, it was -2 up in Chicago. So, but I was smiling the whole time. This is where really football in a sense started and became popular here in the Midwest, and the Big Ten is as big a ramrod of the development of college football and college athletics. And to me, it's without a doubt the best conference for a student athlete to be in, and I would argue that against anybody. And it's close to home. With Cincinnati right down the road, and the school up north across the street from St. Mary's that I went to is right up the street too. So.
That team was pretty good, though. Sometimes, I mean, you get a chance. They've had some success in football, but talk about that. I think it's interesting what you've said about the Midwest kid, and about obviously everybody talks about the SEC and obviously your days at Florida State and the ACC, but those types of schools as being where all the talent is. They've won all the national championships, all on down the line. But the fact that your contention that the Big Ten is the place for that combination of academics and athletics, and how you sell that at Purdue.
Well, it's an easy sell for me because I don't want to say adamant, but was really pleased as a parent that my child wanted to come to a school like Purdue. And I was comfortable in having a kid here. And that's what I wanted as a parent. And if I had to pick, schools around the country, the schools within this league obviously would be my first choice personally. And I think you also see from a research standpoint and the success of these universities, the type of atmosphere that these students are going to be involved in daily.
Yeah.
And the challenge in the classroom too. Now these guys, as difficult as it is on the gridiron when you cross that white line, it's not easy, but it's not easy walking in those classrooms either. There's great competition in there with the type of students that we attract from all over the world.
You look at this, and the question which you've kind of answered earlier about what do you expect from the defense this year, but what's your defensive philosophy? You're multiple in terms of, and I thought what Coach Hazel said early on, we're gonna deal with the talent that we have and try to make it work with what we have and find the system that fits them best. Is that how you look at it?
That's accurate, and of course, if whatever Coach Hazel says, that's exactly what we're going to do. But we'll be a defensive attrition. We're gonna defend and take away hopefully what offenses do best. But we also have to play a style of defense that fits our personnel. For me to call defenses or line up in schemes that these young men can't perform in would be ludicrous of me to do that. And some people just do that. They say, here's the playbook, here's what we're going to do. But we have enough in our book that's easy to learn that'll match the talent level that we have here. It's if you had to pick a number, we are a 4-3 defense. We're zone friendly. Probably play some sneaky man on you, and hey, I'd blitz on every down. Blitzes are fun when they work. But we'll have enough chaos out there that we can create with blitzes and stuff. But it'll be more about execution and discipline and tackling and pursuing the ball and lining up right. And doing it. If it doesn't have to do with talent, we're going to be great at it.
Yeah,
Your defense has had some ability over the years to turn teams over, which is, it's an obvious statement that when you turn teams over, you got a pretty good chance of winning. But you guys have done that well at East Carolina and other places too.
Well, the thing, we like to shorten the game, on defense. If we can get 3 turnovers, that's playing 3 quarters of football for us defensively, and that's giving the offense a chance to play 5. And we look at, that's our sales pitch to the kids, and our job is to get the ball back for the offense. And I don't know if there's any magic formula into creating turnovers, but it is an emphasis, and it's something that we work on and we will work on daily. And I think it goes along with your scheme too, of being able, you can't get the ball back if you don't see it. So we're trying to get as many eyes on it as we can at the snap.
Yeah. Part of your job, obviously, is to be the coach of. Daryl Hazel's the ultimate coach of coaches, but you also have 3 guys on your side of the ball, a new one in Reuben Carter as well. But and you guys come from different places. How long does it take in the world of football to begin to bond, or is it just is it an ongoing process? How do you view that?
Well, I think it starts with the head coach and his selection. The way he puts his staff together. I think the chemistry is sort of built and laid out by the people that he brings in, and Coach did a very patient and very selective job of making sure that, first of all, he's going to find a good football coach. Let's make sure that when we're spending all those hours together that we're going to get along and have some chemistry, and that usually happens during the selection process. And I'm fortunate that I have a guy like John Haycock, a veteran coach who's called defenses, a guy that I can lean on, who understands what's going on in the position that I'm in. That's a great asset. And then Marcus Freeman, he's a future star in this business. He has the unfortunate deal that he has to coach the position that I coach. So, I'll be watching him probably a little more, and then just with getting Reuben, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I want to get his autograph. So that's going to be great, and he's been through the ringer of all the coaching circuses.
Yeah.
When we talked earlier, you said that you hadn't known Daryl Hazel closely, before you interviewed, but that within a couple of minutes of your interview, you were sold on him and definitely wanting this Purdue job. Just what's that sort of relationship? How has it grown, and how sold were you on moving up here?
Right. I did not know who Coach was. We met really for the first time on the interview, but like I said, within minutes of the interview, I just wanted to text my wife under the table, saying I wanted this job bad, and it was a no-brainer from that standpoint. And, I think everybody that's met Coach has that same feeling after meeting him.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the Purdue's defensive staff, and it's I'm not going to put your age out as any detractor, but this isn't a form. I mean, you're the prototypical defensive coordinator that you see on TV, always yelling, but you got a nice looking group with Ruben and with yourself. And I mean, John's a little bit older, I suppose, but we know he can move. But we know Marcus Freeman can run around too. Still,
Right, he
so,
probably can still play.
Yeah, so I mean, you have you're going to pass the if there's such a thing as an airport test. You guys are in good shape.
Yeah, we have a good mix.
Is this a basketball? Do you guys play basketball together? Yeah, you haven't had time to do that.
No, I'm anything that is a potential Achilles problem
Yeah,
at this
I'm with
age, I don't even
I'm
mess
not-
with it anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you.
No, not at all.
Yeah. We had a question on just your philosophy, looking at the defense, and again, we're making the assumption based on returning guys and whether they're all going to have to earn their spots. But kind of, right now the defense is kind of small corners, small linebackers, small speedy linebackers. This person says a nice size line. Is this concerning, or is this an advantage of how you want to run a defense? Do you have prototypical guys that you're looking for in the recruiting process, or guys that you like, from a height and weight standpoint in putting your defense together?
Sort of believe that there's weight classes in boxing and wrestling for a reason.
Yeah.
The bigger the better. But you have to be able to move in this game because of the offenses today with the spread. But you can still do that with big people. And, I like looking up to linebackers and D linemen, and I'm not as worried about DBs. Over at Iowa for a while, a pretty short guy named Bobby Sanders was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he was real good.
Yeah.
So, your height, weight, and speed is important in our evaluation, and you have to be able to defend and know how to defend based on the God-given size and ability that you have.
Yeah.
And then it's my job also to put those players in the right position. Where you can't leave a short corner out there on a 6'4" receiver all day, and you have to help them. And but sometimes those guys can be a pain in the rear to the offense too. Because they'll tackle.
Yeah. It is about tackling, isn't
Yes.
it? It's amazing from that standpoint.
So you got spring coming up here in, 2.5 weeks or so?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
quickly approaching. What will
Right.
be, your first-year coaching staff? Does
Right.
that probably changes some things from what you want to be able to accomplish, but what are the early goals for the spring? I would imagine getting some things installed, and then you'll try and move on from there.
We've talked about that as a staff, and one, it's we have to create an identity of who we are as a defense. The kids have to understand and develop an identity of something they can hang their hat on. If like when that question is asked, they will have the answer of what type of defense we are. That'll be first, and then also what type of role each kid will have, and then also learning about what type of responsibility is within that role. At those positions. And it'll be basic. I try to keep it as basic. I have to because I got to remember it.
Fair enough.
And I can't keep it too complicated or I'll blow a gasket on Saturday. And,
Don't want that to happen.
And I put on the top of the call sheet, don't screw this game up. So that's the first thing I do to make sure I don't create a problem before it happens. And but these kids need to come out of spring football with an identity of who we are and what we want to accomplish.
I'm going to ask you a question that Mike, it won't get you in trouble, but it's an interesting one about is the coaching staff, I'll start with the defensive side, but then the whole staff under Darrell
Right.
Hazel, is it a democracy or dictatorship?
I think they're all the same. Whatever the head coach wants, the head coach gets.
All right, how about
And,
the defensive staff, though? I mean, you obviously take input from, you'd already talked
You
about
know what?
John.
I'm probably as easy to work with as anybody. I'm very open to ideas. I need the help. I don't have all the answers, and I don't claim to have all the answers. And then I got to have somebody to blame if it doesn't work. So.
I love that one. That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Have you ever, now, your days at Notre Dame, so you've played in Ross-Ade Stadium.
Yes. I've been here a couple times.
When did you graduate from Notre Dame?
1967. No, I'm just
No.
kidding. 90.
90, so you were in a couple lopsided games here in Ross.
Yes, we had some good victories up there, and but we always looked at Purdue. It was still the time of the spoiler maker.
Yeah, sure.
There were some good battles, and I'm looking forward to playing them again.
What does it take? You know, obviously been part of a national championship too, and been at Florida State where national championships have come and gone. I'm not saying, you know, this is the immediate goal for Purdue, but what does it take to get that done? I mean, to get to that level where you can start to even talk about, you know, building a program from where it might be now at Purdue to being a program that can at least be at the top level of the Big Ten. What things from your perspective have to go well early and often to make that happen?
Well, you know, first of all, great players.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, every championship team has not good, but great players, great talent, and within that ability, there has to be great chemistry, and then there also has to be a great plan and involvement of everybody. You'll win championships when enough people care. You have to get the talent, but I'm from the top to the bottom, from the student workers in the office. They all have to be on the same page, and it doesn't change daily. You don't walk into work and wonder, you know, what are we working for today? There's no gray area. And I think, I know when I walk in to the office here at Purdue, I know exactly what our plan is. I know what is expected, and it also comes from great communication. And I've been at places where they didn't have it, and you don't win.
Yeah.
But you know, make no mistake about it. You need great players, a great plan, and then just a little luck helps too.
That would help too.
We'll take all that you can get.
And we'll get down about
Sort
one
of
time for one more question. Go ahead.
Sort of trickles down from the boss, right?
Right.
Accountability and discipline. And how do you sort of, you know, how do you instill that in your players? Just by
Well, you have a standard, and you just do not sway from it.
Yeah.
I think your personal characteristics and discipline in your own lifestyle and the way you come to work every day rubs off on your players, the way you carry yourself, and you know the expectation level never changes. And the players, when they know what to expect and how things will play out when, you know, by their performance or the way they perform academically, and there's no surprises, then the chemistry builds, and you have a chance to really build something special. And we have the one thing we do have is the leadership at the top. I mean, this Coach Hazel, he's a very good. Hasn't been a head coach very long, but what he did at Kent State is special because it hadn't been done. When you do something that's never been done, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no question. Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time, and we look forward to weekly visits with you. No, we look forward to seeing you early and often on the football field and watching, too, with great interest in what gets put together here in the near term. Kyle, thanks as well, and we want to thank our sponsors, Hilton Garden Inn, State Farm agent Trent Johnson, and Follett's Purdue Pride. And we will be back. If you didn't see all this interview, and you'd be hard pressed not to find a better one. So you need to make sure you watch it tonight. We'll post it again tonight around dinner time too, as our Golden Black Live replay. Thanks also, obviously, to Brian Newbert, Stacy Clarity, Matt Rector, who's playing hurt today and coming up and getting and bringing Coach Hudson. Also, Nancy Cross for being a guest, and Gordon and Lydia. And Kim in the far reaches of WLFI.com, all the help that they've given us as well. We will look forward to seeing you next week, talking more basketball and hopefully more football as well. And we'll be on same time, 2 p.m. on Golden Black Live.